Hello, everybody. Welcome to Popcorn Planet. I am Andy Signor, and I'm here to review the film Ad Astra, which is Latin for To the Stars, starring Brad Pitt, directed by James Gray, and is in theaters September 20th. The film is a space adventure, but it's definitely also a character study. It is a slow build of a film with some exciting moments, and just a beautifully shot and put together technically, but it's definitely, I think, not going to be for everybody. It's getting a lot of rave reviews from critics from festival screenings that have already happened, and even the critics, as I was leaving, was listening to them talk about it. The film centers around Brad Pitt, who plays Roy, an astronaut. As the tagline implies, the answers we seek are just outside our reach. I don't think, while there's elements of Gravity, it's not like Gravity. It's different. It has moments similar of just sort of, alone in space. It absolutely goes there, and sort of how your mind goes crazy, but it's definitely even more artistic. I feel like Gravity was more of a commercial crowd pleaser in a way, even though it was more Castaway. This is definitely a more artsy version of those types of films, and beyond that, it goes beyond just space. As it's trying not to ruin the film because I don't want to do spoilers here, but it's a paranoid thriller in space that follows Roy on a mission across an unforgiving solar system to uncover the truth about his missing father and his doomed expedition that now, 30 years later, threatens the universe. And that's really what it is about, is this idea of his father is a well-known astronaut who has gone out and is known as sort of like this hero among the community, and he has gone missing. And as in the beginning of the film, as we learn, they send up a lot of this stuff, by the way, in the trailer isn't in the film, which is also weird. But they send up Brad Pitt to try and find him because we learn he might not be dead. That's the twist, or not twist, but the beginning of the act to sort of set the movie in action. And so Brad Pitt is on a need-to-know basis mission to go see if his dad's there. Has his dad gone crazy, and he goes through all this crazy stuff to get there. As I've seen other critics say, it's really Apocalypse Now in space is the closest comparison you can give this film. I think there's definitely some more exciting big IMAX sequences to sort of keep people excited and intrigued. There are some great action moments. There's a whole scene on Mars where they run into space pirates, and it sort of feels like its own movie in a way. And I really enjoyed it, and I liked that the movie was going in these weird places where it's a little slow build, and there's this big action scene, and then it's back to the slow build, but then they still keep it exciting, and you're following Brad Pitt's journey, almost in a way like World War Z did, whereas World War Z is sort of like these, as I remember that movie, it's like Brad Pitt going through these sort of vignettes in the film and then passes people, you don't really see them again. That's really what this film is too. It's Brad Pitt's journey. You're following him to will he find his father? How far to the outreaches of space will he go? And then they, I don't want to spoil where it goes, but it becomes obviously a psychological and bigger question on life in general, and are we alone? All that sort of stuff. It's similar to Contact, but I would say Contact, I like Contact better. But it does ultimately make more sense than, say, Interstellar did, if we're comparing other space epics. The only thing that was sort of just odd about the film is it's also just had feelings for me of a Blade Runner in a way. And really like and I guess is it the director's cut, whatever the version of Blade Runner that has the voiceover. They have this unnecessary voiceover throughout, which was odd because they do this really cool trick in the movie where Brad Pitt does like therapy sessions to himself through like are you okay? And they show it in the trailers too, but he puts this device on and they do sort of a psychological profile of him. At the robot AI patch sort of asks questions as his therapist to make sure he's mentally stable to be, on the mission. And it's a really clever tool because it allows him to sort of, throughout the movie, talk to someone and really share his feelings. In the first half of the movie, he's just stone-faced, non-emotional, and that's sort of why he's succeeded as an astronaut. And you realize he's estranged with his dad and all this stuff, and he gets more emotional as the film progresses. But that sort of plot device was really clever and allows him to sort of offer narration. But then they offer additional voiceover, and I don't know if that was Disney's taking over, because you got to remember this film is Fox, and this was one of the films that was made sort of before the Disney merger, and then Disney shelved this movie from spring to the fall, and that was, I think, smart. Excuse me. I do think that was smart because they're trying to go for Oscar stuff. Pardon me. And I think it's definitely, especially technically, an Oscar film. And a lot of critics are raving about enjoying the film. But it's very similar to First Man, I think, in its tone, where I don't see this one having the legs. We'll see. But my point being, this plot device of the narration, it felt a little added later. And there were some other scenes in the trailer. I would have loved to see more of the worlds he went through, like the seedy underbelly of Mars and things that he does. That were sort of implied in some of the trailers, and they're not in the movie. So I don't know what happened if Fox or Disney meddled with this. I know it sat on the shelf for a while and they waited. But overall, I liked the film. I was talking to some critics afterwards, and they were less into the film, and it was good to sort of talk it out because I liked it leaving, and then I had some problems with it, and I still have some issues or questions. But overall, I was engaged. It's a journey you're going to go on with Brad Pitt in this film. It's beautiful in IMAX, but it's definitely a slower character study. So don't go in expecting like this, crazy, exciting action movie. It's definitely more awards bait. Delving into your psyche and that type of psychological stuff. And it may be underwhelming for some. It'll be very exciting for others. But I offer that warning before you go to the film. I do think it's worth seeing in a theater. It's a nice change of pace. I tried to look up, and I did it before taping, if this was a book. I don't think it is. James Gray wrote it. It felt like something I hadn't seen before. It's this idea of what if space and the moon, what if there was like colonized on the moon and it was just like a regular airport and it's kind of with an Applebee's. It's really a weird part, but fascinating part of the movie. And the only thing I was disappointed in is they sort of gloss over that stuff, and there could have been a whole series in this world that I feel like they built. And then we only sort of get to see bits and pieces of it as we follow Brad Pitt's journey, which was good, don't get me wrong, but it almost opened up a lot of other exciting things that I would have almost rather seen different movies in. The space pirates are opening mines on the moon, and then if you go into the dark side of the moon, it's where it's dangerous and it's not really perfectly lawed yet. There's no real rules and stuff and laws there, so it's sort of the wild west on the moon. And to me, like, hello, why isn't that an HBO show? That sounds awesome. I want to see the Ad Astra space colony series, because that sounds fascinating, and it's this sort of realistic approach to it that I really thought was great. And the space stuff, James Gray, a lot of people I don't even think are familiar with James Gray. He's done a lot of movies like Joaquin Phoenix. I was in The Yards, a little bit of trivia. If you can find me as an extra in The Yards and you tweet at me, I will send you some sort of reward. But A Little Odessa with Tim Roth was a great film, and he did Yards, We on the Note, Two Lovers, all Joaquin Phoenix. And then the biggest one he's done more recently was Lost City of Z with Tom Holland, Robert Pattinson, and Charlie Hunnam. So it's nice to see him go from these sort of character dramas, smaller indies, to now he's getting Brad Pitt and bigger stars do these bigger budget things, because I do think he's a strong director. I do like what he's done here. I like the world he's built. So overall, it's a thumbs up for me. With those caveats, I wouldn't mind seeing more of this world with a different, more intense story. But I'm curious to see what you guys think when the film opens soon. Are you excited for Ad Astra? Brad Pitt does a great job. He plays it like he does. I like him. I think he makes good choices when he makes his movies. And I saw someone saying, isn't he over yet? No, I think he's in his prime, and I wish he would do more films, but when he decides to make a film, he goes all in and makes sure it's a spectacle. And he's proven that, I think, with both films. Even though I wasn't a huge fan of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, I thought he did a good job. There's similar subtle roles of him sort of emotionless. It is a character he likes to play where he's doesn't want to have a lot of lines, but he gives himself some moments near the end that I think are strong, and I liked his performance. Tommy Lee Jones is seen in sort of flashbacks and stuff and does a good job too, and Donald Sutherland gives a nice performance. It's a good ensemble cast of other players that come in and out, but yeah, I enjoyed the film overall. Do check it out when it comes out in IMAX if you are a cinematic fan of cinema. I think this is one you want to go see on the biggest screen you can. That's what I got. Thanks so much for watching. I'll be back with more videos soon. Have a great day, everybody. Bye.